Y'all ready for this? Hello, boys and girls. Oops, wait a minute. Let me make myself smaller so you can see me over here. There we go. Let's try that again. Hi, boys and girls. Guess what? That is our math music. When you hear that music, you know to get ready for math. Not getting ready to rumble, but we getting ready for some math. So this is going to be our math lesson for today. This is our first math lesson for this week. And we are going to be starting this week talking about shapes. Now, for a lot of you, this is going to be really easy stuff because you already learned this in kindergarten. But I need to make sure that you remember some of these important things that we need to do in order to start learning some first grade math about shapes. So one of the first things I want to talk about with you right now is, do you remember the difference between a 2D and a 3D shape? Have a look at these pictures here and see if it helps you remember. Got it? Now remember, the D stands for dimensions. A 2D shape has only two dimensions. It goes this way or it goes this way. And when we want to measure these 2D shapes, we measure this dimension or we measure this dimension. How tall is it or how wide is it? Now, when you're talking about a 3D shape, that means it's got three dimensions. It can go how wide this way, how wide this way, how tall this way. It's like those blocks that we play with in our classroom. So 2D shapes are the flat ones. The things you write, you can draw on a piece of paper. These shapes here are 2D. They're flat. You can't pick them up. You can't hold them in your hand. These are 3D shapes because I can pick it up and I can hold it in my hand. This is a 3D shape. I can go up and down, I can go across, and I can go this way. It has three dimensions. Got it? Okay. But this week we're going to be talking about 2D shapes. So I just want to make sure you know the difference between a 2D and a 3D. So we got that straight? We're going to be talking about two-dimensional shapes. So now let's see some other words I need to make sure you remember. We also need to know the difference between an open shape and a closed shape. This is pretty easy. As you can see, this box goes all the way around. If I have a fence around my backyard like this, is my dog going to be able to get out? No, because the shape is closed. He can't find any way to get out. So I know my dog's not going to run away. Now, if I have an open shape, that means somewhere in this shape, there's a hole in it. And if I'm not careful, my dog is going to be able to get out and get lost. So we want to make sure that when we're talking about shapes, that we are looking at closed shapes, ones that go all the way around and they don't have any holes for our friends to get out. Okay? Open shape, closed shape. You know the difference? Excellent. We're going to be looking for some closed shapes today. Now, let's have a look at this shape here. Now, I know you know what this is. What is it called? Yeah, read it up here. What does that say? Square. Square. It's got that bossy E at the end, so don't say square. It's a square, and I know you know what a square is. Now, some other words that we need to know about our shapes. We're learning a lot of vocabulary today, but you're going to need to know it for the rest of the week, so make sure you're paying attention, okay? All right. A square has sides on it. The straight lines that go up and down here, these are called side. This is a side. My shape has a side on it. It also has these things where the sides come together. I know, we call that a corner. Well, we're going to learn the science name for it, the math name, I should say, the first grade math name. And you may have heard this in kindergarten too. In fact, you probably did. This corner over here is called a vertex. Remember, if there's more than one of them, we call it vertices. So you need to know the difference between one vertex and two vertices. If there's only one, it's a vertex. If there's more than one, which this shape has, we're going to call them vertices. And of course, we know our side. Now, how many sides do we see in this square? Well, let's count them and find out. All right, are we ready? I see one side, two sides, three sides, and four sides. My square has four sides, which means I need to add an S on here, don't I? Because it's not four side, it's going to be four sides. Now, let's have a look at these vertex. I see one vertex here, but look, there's another one over here. That's vertex number 2. And here we have vertex number 3. And this is vertex number 4. So I'm not going to say I have 4 vertex. I'm going to say I have 4 vertices. Okay? So how many sides does a square have? 4. And how many vertices does a square have? 4. You got it. Now I want you to notice too on this square, something about these sides. Let me give you a hint. They're all the same. Got it? All the same. This one is the same length as this one, and it's the same length as this one. That's what makes it a square. So remember that. As we look at our next shape over here, this shape over here is called a what? Yeah, you knew that one. Let's read the word. It's got bossy E. Rectangle. Rectangle. Now, I know you knew that word, but I got to make sure you know it. So this is a rectangle. What do you think? Is this a closed shape or an open shape? I forgot to ask you about that on our square. Let's go back to that square. Sorry, I forgot about that. Is this square an open or a closed? What do you think? Yeah, you're right. It's a closed shape. It's a closed shape. So remember that, okay? Now having a look at our rectangle over here, what is our rectangle? Yeah, you're right. It's also a closed shape. Very good. Now, remember what we just talked about with our square? What do you think this is called here? Yeah, I know. It is also called a side. Just because it's a different shape, it's still the same. If it's a straight line that goes like that, it's a side. Now, do you remember this word? What's this one called? You got it? Yeah, I knew you'd remember it. It's a vertex, of course. And if there's more than one, we call those what? Vertices. Excellent. See, I told you it's going to be easy. No problema. All right, let's try it again. Let's count the sides on our rectangle. I got 1 here, 2, 3, and 4. Once again, I have 4 sides. And look at these vertices. I got 1 here. I got 2 here. Remember? Vertices. There it is right there. That's my vertex. Here's another vertex. How many is that? That's 3. Here's another vertex. Yep, that's 4. All right. Kind of tricky writing with my mouse over here, guys. I'm working on it. So how many vertices do we have? Right. Again, we have 4. Wait a minute. A square's got 4 sides and 4 vertices. A rectangle's got 4 sides and 4 vertices too. So now, what's the difference between a square and a rectangle? Yeah, you already know this. The difference between a square and a rectangle? Rectangle has 2 sides that are longer. Longer. Square, you remember, they're all the same. But on a rectangle, 2 of them are longer than the other 2. See how these are shorter? And these 2 are longer. That's how we can tell the difference. So remind me again, what makes them the same and what makes them the difference? You remember? I remember. I'm going to use this one over here so that we can tell. How are they the same? Well, both of them have 4 sides. They both have 4 vertices, don't they? That's what makes them the same. And what was it that made them different? What makes them different? Squares have sides that are all the same. Squares have sides that are all the same. All the same. They're no different. One side is just as long as the other side. None are shorter. They're all the same. And that's what makes them a square. There we go. Now, how about a rectangle? What is it that makes a rectangle different? You're right. Rectangles. Yeah, rectangles. I'm going to get it here. Don't worry. Rectangles have sides that are not, I'm going to make that big, not the same. Not the same. At least one of their sides is going to be longer than the other. They are not the same. Okay? I told you this was going to be easy. Didn't I tell you that? I did. So rectangles have sides that are not the same. Squares have sides that are all the same. But the one thing that they all have in common, both of them have 4 sides and 4 vertices. Okay? Remember the difference? This is going to be so easy. Here we go. I want to see if we can find them because we see shapes all over the place in the real world. And our job today is to be able to see if we can tell the difference between a square and a rectangle. So let's have a look at this one here. What do you think that is? Is that a square or a rectangle? Now don't be fooled because it's turned on its side. Remember, to be a square, it needs to have 4 sides and 4 vertices. Do you see them? 1, 2, 3, 4 vertices. 1, 2, 3, 4 sides. Now, it's kind of turned sideways, so it might fool you. But don't let it fool you, because if I turn it like that, do you see how it's the same as that square? It's exactly the same. So don't be fooled because it's standing up on its end. I know a lot of times we call that a diamond, but you know what? A diamond is actually a square standing on its end. It is a square. Nice job. All right, now what about this one? I see it's got 4 vertices. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4 sides, but wait a minute. Are the sides the same length or are 2 of them longer? Yeah, look, these sides here are longer than these sides. So that's going to make this a rectangle. You got it. All right. What about this one? If you think this is a square, I want you to put up 1 finger. There we go. Got to find my camera. If you think it's a rectangle, show me 2 fingers. All right, are you ready? Show me. 1, 2 fingers. Which one is it? Ready? Show me. I see a lot of 1 fingers up there. You're right. This one is a square. Look at that. They're all the same length, aren't they? Very cool. All right, wait a minute. How about this one? Okay, again, 1 finger if it's a square, 2 if you think it's a rectangle. Which one do you think it is? Ready? Show me. Yeah, how many of you put up 2 fingers? Did you put up 2 fingers? You better. It is a rectangle because look, 2 of the sides are longer. Now again, don't be fooled because it's sitting sideways. If I turn it flat, it's right, isn't it? But we don't always see them flat, so you got to be ready to find them no matter how they look. All right, let's see. We got one more here. Have a good look at this one. What do you think? Square or rectangle? I'm going to hide my fingers. Think about it for a minute. Ready? Show me. What do you think it is? I thought it was a square. Did you think so too? Ah, you're right. Look very carefully. They are all the same length. Squares, rectangles. Easy peasy, right? I know it. I know it. All right. Here's what you're going to do right now. This is an easy math lesson, but you got this. I want you to get your math book out. Remember? It's the big one that looks like this. Make sure you find the one that has a number 2 on it. See that number 2 right there? Make sure you got number 2. Find number 2, and you're going to go down here and look for page 639. See it down here? Let me get my marker. Let me cover it. Draw a circle around that so you can see it. Page 639. And right next to it, you'll have page 640. I want you to do these pages for me in your book. It's going to be easy. You'll have it done Just like that. In fact, it's so easy that if you want to, when you finish with those, you are welcome to go back and do some of these other pages that are in here. Wait a minute. Where are we at? 39. See, I forgot what number it was too. No. All right, here we go. If you'd like, you are welcome to go in and just for fun, you can start on page 636. Sorry, it's backwards. 636. And you can do this page if you'd like. You can do this page if you'd like. It's a lot of the same stuff that we were just doing. And let me see. You can even do this page too, just for some extra practice, okay? You don't have to, but if you want to and you have time, you can do that. But then here's your homework right here. Here is page 639, and here is page 640. You got it? Okay? Don't worry about this page. We're going to talk about this one tomorrow. That's going to be our next lesson that we'll do tomorrow. Okay? I want to keep these math lessons short and sweet because I know that you are all working really hard in Khan Academy. I know that you are working really hard in your happy numbers games. Continue doing those, but also have a look at this. See if you can do it. And I know over here, we've got this little robot guy over here. If you want to have some fun, I'd like to invite you to draw me a picture. Draw me a picture of your very, but this time I want you only using squares and rectangles. Can you make a robot that uses only squares and rectangles? No circles. See, this one's got circles in it. I challenge you to make me a robot with only squares and rectangles. Can you do that? And just to make it more interesting, I want you to color all the squares red and all the rectangles blue. That way I know that you can tell the difference between a square and a rectangle. Got it? Excellent. All right. Well, I will see you next time for another math lesson. So get ready for that, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys.